We can no longer pretend that this isn't happening. We are slowly losing him. Lord, give us the cure. She is still my home. Barbados is still my home. She is still my home. Barbados is still.
When you hear the name Jim Wedderburn, you think of the first Barbadian to win an Olympic medal. But Wedderburn was also part of another aspect of Barbados' history.
I was present when Barbados became independent. That night at the garrison, as a second lieutenant, I was in the Barbados regiment. I was carrying the regimental flag while Hartley Dutton carried the flag that was taken down and replaced by the Barbados flag. So I was right there next to Hartley Dutton.
This was one of the memories of a distinguished career that Wedderburn shared with Barbados today at the National Stadium at the stand which bears his name. His sports career began when he was a student at Lodge School.
I remember my house captain, Arthur Streetley. He had a meeting with the whole house, empty house, and he told us all that we had to go there and gain a standard. And by standard, it meant if you ran a certain time or jumped a certain distance, you would get 1 point for the house, whether you were first, second, or third in the race. So he wanted everybody to get out and get that 1 point to start with. I knew nothing about high jump, and I remember he took me out and taught me how to high jump. Then he told me about running, and I ran that year and I won. And naturally, the following year you would be defending champion, so to speak. So you expect to come out and run again. And I came out, I ran, and the encouragement from most of the Lodge boys, the senior boys, and all that kept me going, and the rest is history.
Wedderburn was 22 when he wrote Barbados' name in Olympics history.
In 1960, we went to Rome, the Rome Olympics, as a West Indies team. And the team was made up of mainly Jamaicans, one Trinidadian, and I was the only Barbadian. There were 6 of us who were vying for the 4x400 relay team, and we had to run off in Rome to make that final 4. And I was determined to represent Barbados and be a member of that foursome. So I did that. I accomplished what I wanted and what Mr. Louis Lynch was insisting that I had to do. And we earned a bronze medal behind the USA and Germany.
He would eventually return home after completing his studies in the US, but went back to New York to work as a teacher and later a high school principal.
My high school had 2,100 students, and some days it was pretty taxing, but on the whole they were teenagers and they weren't too bad. So I can't complain for their behavior. They were a pretty good group of kids during the 5 years that I was principal.
Several other Barbadians have followed in Wedderburn's footsteps to perform with distinction in international and regional sporting events, but he would still like to see greater interest in sports among students.
The level of interest is not as good as I would like it. During the inter-school sports season, the January to March, April time, and coming on to the Carifta Games, you get the interest that you would want. But after the Carifta Games are over, it seems like everything goes dormant and wait till the next year. But I think track and field is something that you should be approaching much more than that. I think there should be a real vigorous cross-country season and a real vigorous track season, and that will produce the type of athlete, the strong athlete, and the interested athlete that you really want.
And his advice to future BAJAN athletes is to work hard and stay focused.